Hi, my name is Michael Ruhlman. I write about food and cooking, and I'm here to talk about ratios and power of ratios when you connect them to a smartphone. A ratio is simply a proportion of one ingredient relative to another. A batter ratio is equal parts liquid and flour, half that much egg. That's a ratio. When you know a ratio, it's not like knowing a single recipe, it's like knowing 1,000 recipes. My book talked about how they worked, why they worked, variations, had recipes. A smartphone application does something a book can't do. Calculate amounts of ingredients relative to what you have and what you need. Here's how it works. The bread ratio is 5 parts flour, 3 parts water. My basic bread uses 20 ounces of flour. I simply type in that amount and the phone calculates the remaining ingredients for me. Now I know I need 12 ounces of water. I don't like those small ounce measurements, so I'm going to change those measurements to grams. That's my basic loaf, and I'm going to save it as my basic bread recipe. But say I didn't want to make a full loaf. Say I wanted to make a small pizza for me and Donna. I'm going to plug in half the flour. Now I know how much of the other ingredients to mix with the flour. If I want to work only in grams, I can do that too. Perhaps I want to make a double batch, or make some and freeze some. I can simply type in 50 ounces of flour and it calculates the remaining ingredients. And if I'm not sure how to mix the dough or when to let it rise, I can read basic instructions on how to make bread and learn ideas for variations. The garlic rosemary bread is one of my favorites. Here's another completely different ratio, one I use all the time, the brine ratio. Most brine recipes give me far more brine than I need, but with the ratio application, I can make enough for a whole turkey or a single chicken breast. Today I want just enough brine for 2 pork chops, 2 cups of brine. I type 16 ounces of water. I know I need 0.8 ounces of salt, or to be more precise, 23 grams. And if I need brine technique or ideas for flavoring the brine, I go to details. I think I'm going to add garlic and sage to the brine, maybe some bay and black pepper. I made angel food cake for my daughter the other day. There's a ratio for that too, but it left me with a ton of yolks. I feel like doing a custard. Let's make a vanilla sauce. Weigh my yolks, 7 ounces, plug that in. There's my recipe. If I'm a little woolly on the technique, I can touch details for basic instructions. Say I was feeling a little wild and crazy and I threw in some cardamom and orange zest, and it was dynamite. I don't want to forget that. Say I'm so proud of myself, I have to share it. I can share it on Twitter, or Facebook, or email. I love the share feature because it encourages more and more people to cook. I cook with my son James. We usually make pancakes on the weekend. But maybe I'm getting to be too much of a fatty and need to lay off the cakes this weekend. I can reduce the portion size from 2 to 1. I see that portion quantity corresponds to the butter, so I can type in 1 ounce butter, and there's my recipe for a single serving of pancakes. Other features include default settings for grams and ounces, which page view loads when you click on a ratio. Scales are very important, but I have made a volume button available for those who don't have a scale. Of course, I've included instruction on cooking and scales generally, and the scale I recommend. And that's it. That's everything. The culinary fundamentals in your pocket. A calculator of ingredients. It's a great tool. Cooking is easy. Cooking is good. It makes life better. I want more people to cook. Anything is possible when you have a ratio and a little technique.